Trauma vampires. Yes, they do exist. They really, really do. And they feed off your trauma. But here's the thing. They come in the guise of support and friendship. I want people to know about this because this is a very subtle form of your destruction and your suffering that you may believe is actual help from someone else. Trauma vampires are people who show up when you have difficult periods in your life, and they come pretending to offer support. In fact, I believe that in many cases they actually do believe they are offering support, but what they're giving you is much worse than what you're experiencing if they weren't around. They're compounding the trauma, they're compounding your heartbreak and your pain and your suffering because they're feeding off it. They're harvesting energy from it. Now I'll give you an example of a trauma vampire. Suppose a woman, her husband left her and just left her, the relationship ended, the marriage ended, and he went off with another woman. She would still have strong feelings for this guy, but she's trying to get on with her life knowing that he'll never come back. While the trauma vampire would be a friend who would show up pretending to support, but would actually be constantly reminding her of how painful her experience is. For instance, she'll try and be there, she'll be calling constantly, emailing constantly, Skyping constantly, texting constantly, giving her updates of what he's up to now. Like, can you believe he's just got himself a new girlfriend? Now that's the last thing that woman, can you believe that the new girlfriend is already pregnant with his baby and it's all over Facebook? That's what a trauma vampire does. And she says, and then she'll say something like, well, don't worry about it, girlfriend, because what will happen is I will stop, I'll be here for you, you'll beat this, you'll get over him. But she didn't have to tell her that thing about the pregnancy in the first place. The reason why she did it was because she knows that when that woman heard that, there was a tug in her heart, a release of emotional energy, and the trauma vampire feeds on that. That's why the trauma vampire is generally a hypochondriac or a kind of a sad sack most of the time, until they get into their trauma vampire routine, and they're almost giddy, like, oh, can you believe this happened? And they're calling up the person constantly under the guise of support, and it may be support, but that's not why they're doing it. They're harvesting energy, emotional energy. So look out for that one. Trauma vampires. We're going to be discussing this in the months and years to come, because I've done all I could do with the psychopaths teaching about that, and now I want to help you with something else. And these are the other kinds of predators who are not necessarily psychopathic or even evil, but you just need to get to know them in your life because they'll damage you. So, like I said in the first Labyrinth of the Psychopath video, let's keep this conversation going and see where it takes us, because the trauma vampire thing is something I think people need to be aware of, because often when you're at the lowest in your life, the people coming, they're almost like Trojan horses, beware of Greeks bearing gifts. They come into your life to feed on your pain under the guise of support and friendship. Thank you very much.